students, in the last class we discussed the concept of LCM. What is meant by least common multiple, right? Already we started the definition. So to say that A and B least common multiple of A comma B, how we define LCM of A comma B means let A and B be two non-zero integers. A non-zero integer M is said to be LCM of A comma B if the first condition is M is a common multiple of A and B, right? M is a common multiple of A and B. So what is the meaning of this one? M is common multiple of both A comma B. Means that A divides M and B divides M. How can we say that A divides M? M is equal to some A into K1, where K1 is an integer. B divides M means again M is equal to B into K2, where K2 is another integer. These K1, K2 may same or may not be same, right? So here M is a common multiple of both A comma B. The second condition is C is a common multiple of A and B. If there is any other common multiple exists, then C is a multiple of M. That means among all common multiples, this M must be least common multiple. Means that like this, right? What is the meaning of this one? Implies M is equal to C into another integer some T. What is T? T is an integer, right? So first of all, M is a common multiple of A and B means M is equal to A into K1, M is equal to B K2. In other words, we can say that A divides M and B divides M, right? So the second condition, among all common multiples, this M must be least common multiple. Meaning of that is, if any other common multiple exists, then the relation between that C and this M is M divides C, right? So it is denoted by LCM of A comma B. So here you need to remember that LCM of any two non-negative, that means any two non-negative integers are negative integer and another is positive, or LCM of A comma minus B, all are same. If we take one example, let A is equal to 8, B is equal to 18. The meaning of this note is LCM of 8, 18 is same as LCM of minus 8 comma 18, which is same as LCM of 8 comma minus 18. So even though the numbers are negative numbers or positive numbers, always the LCM is a positive integer, right? Next we will see the result, otherwise theorem, which is which gives us the relation between LCM and GCD. If A and B are two non-zero integers, right? What about A comma B? Those two are non-zero integers. Then GCD of these two numbers AB into LCM of AB is equal to modulus of AB. Just now we discussed that always LCM value is positive and GCD value is also positive whenever we multiply GCD and LCM, which is nothing but the product of those two numbers, right? See the proof? That D is equal to GCD of A comma B. Just I'll give explanation here. What is the meaning of D is equal to GCD of A comma B? Right? Means that D is the greatest common divisor of A comma B, which gives us A divides D and B divides D, right? The second one is M is equal to LCM of A comma B, and M is equal to LCM of A comma B. Means that M is the least common multiple of A comma B. Means that M is common multiple of both A and B. Right? Here, this D divides A. See here, D is GCD of A comma B, means that D is a common divisor of both A comma B. D divides A and D divides B, right? Again, M is equal to LCM of A comma B, means that M is the least common multiple. That means M is common multiple of both A comma B. Means that A divides M and B divides M, right? So now A divides AB and B divides AB. The meaning of that is denominator is multiple of A. So A divides every multiple of A. Similarly, again AB is also multiple of B. B divides every multiple of B. So we can write down clearly A divides AB and B divides AB. Right? Then what is the meaning of this? AB is common multiple of A comma B. But we know that M is LCM of A comma B. That means that M is least common multiple. Among all common multiples, M is the least one. But here we get AB is the common multiple. So using this least common multiple technique, since M is the least one, we have, otherwise we get M is the least among all common multiples, so that M divides AB. So what is the relation of divides? Implies AB by M is equal to some K. There exists integer K, right? So because M divides AB means that there exists some integer K such that AB by M is equal to K, right? Implies we can write this as K is a common, we can write it as A is equal to K into B by M from this one, and also we can write it as B is equal to K into A by M. From the first one we can write it as K divides A, right? So imply and K divides B. See here, K divides A means there exists some integer, right? Some B by M such that A is equal to K into that integer. Because K divides B means that B is equal to K into another integer, right? So K divides A and K divides B implies that K is common divisor of both A and B, right? K is common divisor of A and B. But D is equal to GCD of A comma B means that D is greatest common divisor. K is greatest common. D is greatest common. That means among all common divisors, D is the greatest one. So that here just K is common divisor implies we get K divides D. Right? So let it be equation 1. K divides D, which is equation 1. Now, here you see clearly A divides A into B by D and B divides B into A by D because the denominator is a multiple of A, and in the second one B divides any multiple of B, so denominator is here multiple of B. So A divides any multiple of A, similarly B divides any multiple of B. What is the meaning of that? Implies, here if you observe, these two gives us AB by D. AB by D is common multiple of both A and B. Right? AB by D is common multiple of both A and B. But we have, what is the least common multiple? M is equal to LCM of A comma B. The meaning of LCM of A comma B by property 2, among all common multiples, M is the least one, right? So, because M is the least one, in the divides part, M must be in the LHS part and any other common multiple must be in the RHS part. Because M is the least one, so M divides any other common multiple. Here another common multiple is AB by D. Implies M divides AB by D. Right? So, implies from this one, using the definition of divides, there exists some integer t such that AB by D is equal to, what is the LHS part? M. M into T. Right? So, take this M to LHS, AB by M is equal to dt. Right? We can write from this one as, if you see the previous slide, what is K? AB by M is equal to K. So now we replace this AB by M by K is equal to dt. Right? K equal to dt implies that D divides K. Right? So this is equation 2. See here equation 1, which gives us K divides D. Equation 2 is D divides K. Therefore, whenever A divides B and B divides A, the meaning of that is either both are equal, or either A is equal to B or A is equal to minus B. So we get D is equal to plus or minus K. What is K? K is AB by M. So replace this K by AB by M. Take this B other side, D into M is equal to plus or minus AB. Initially, when we start the proof of this result, we assume that D is equal to GCD of A comma B and M is equal to LCM of A comma B. So replace this D by GCD of A comma B and replace this M by LCM of A comma B, which is equal to plus or minus AB can be written as modulus of AB, right? So GCD of AB into LCM of AB is equal to modulus of AB. So whenever we calculate GCD and LCM of two numbers, their product is nothing but GCD and LCM product is nothing but the product of those two corresponding numbers, right? So the next note, if A and B are two positive integers, then GCD of AB into LCM of AB equal to AB. Here we are not taking the modulus. Why? Because these two are positive integers. So for any positive integer, modulus of 3 is plus 3 only. So whenever A comma B both are positive integers, no need to take the modulus here, just we can write AB. See the second one, LCM of AB equal to AB. This is possible if both are prime numbers, right? So whenever LCM of AB equal to AB, what is our result? GCD of A comma B into LCM of A comma B is equal to modulus of AB, right? Just now we proved this one. If both A comma B are positive integers, no need to write here modulus. If LCM of AB equal to AB, we can replace this value by AB is equal to AB. Both sides AB gets cancelled. So what do we get here? GCD of AB is equal to 1. This is the second point, right? Just we see one example. Let A is equal to 3, B is equal to 8, right? So here GCD of A comma B, that means GCD of 3 comma 8. How can we find this GCD? We can calculate this in two ways, using the factors method, otherwise divisors method. Second one is using the division algorithm, otherwise Euclidean algorithm. So which one is the maximum number? 8. So take this 8 as the dividend, 3 as a divisor, 3 2s are 6. We get 2 is the remainder. Again divide the previous divisor using this remainder. 2 3s are 2 1s are 2, 1. So again divide the previous divisor using this remainder. So what is the GCD? GCD of 3 comma 8 is last non-zero remainder. This is the last non-zero remainder. Last non-zero remainder. So GCD of 3 comma 8 is 1, which is the last non-zero remainder. By using the Euclidean algorithm, we can say the GCD of 3 comma 8 is 1. All of you know how to calculate the LCM of 3 comma 8. This is the primary classes, all you learn about how can you find out LCM of 3 comma 8, because there is no common factor here, so that only we can do using this one only. So LCM of 3 comma 8 is nothing but 1 into 3 into 8, because no common factor, which is 24. Right? Now we check this result. What is the result? GCD of 3 comma 8 into LCM of 3 comma 8. Already we calculate GCD value, which is equal to 1. LCM value also we calculated, which is 24. 1 into 24 is 24, which is equal to modulus of AB. What is A value here? A value is 3, B value is 8. Because both are positive integers, modulus of a positive value is same. So 3 into 8 is 24. Therefore, GCD into LCM of any two numbers is equal to product of the corresponding numbers, right? Next concept is testing for prime numbers. Given number is prime or not, how can we check this one, right? So every integer n greater than or equal to 2 has a prime factor. Suppose if you take one example, n is equal to, let us take it as some 11, right? So what are the factors of n? 11 factors are only 1 and 11 itself, right? So prime factors of n are because 1 is not neither a prime number nor a composite number. So prime factor of n is 11 only, right? If we take another example, let n is equal to some 9. This 9 is also greater than or equal to 2. 9 can be written as 3 into 3, right? And this 3 is a prime number, right? 3 is a prime number. So every integer n greater than or equal to 2 has a prime factor. That prime factor is for the second example 3. For the first example, prime factor of 11 is 11 itself. Now so the second one, if n greater than 1 be a composite integer, then there exists a prime p such that either p divides n and p less than or equal to square root of n. So we consider one example for the second one. N is equal to, let us take it as some 14, right? What is the condition here? If n greater than 1, clearly 14 greater than 1. It is a composite integer. What is meant by composite integer? Composite integer means it must be expressed as product of numbers, product of integers. There exists a prime p. P divides n. See here n can be written as 2 into 7. There exists n. P is equal to 2 such that 2 divides n is equal to 14. Right? P divides n. And also P is equal to 2, which is less than or equal to square root of 14. What is the square root of 14? All of you know square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is 4. So root 14 means value is lies in between 3.5 something, right? So there exists a prime number p which is equal to 2. 2 divides this 14 and also 2 value is less than or equal to square root of p which is 14. Next see the algorithm or procedure to test whether an integer n greater than 1 is prime, right? Verify whether n is 2. If n is 2, then it is a prime number. All of you know as 2 is the smallest prime number, right? If n is 2, then n is prime number, right? What is the first step? If n value equal to 2, then it is a prime number. Otherwise, go to next step. What is the next step? Verify whether 2 divides n, right? If 2 divides n means it is an even number, right? Only the even integer which is prime is 2 only, right? If 2 divides n, then n is not prime number. If 2 does not divide n, then go to next step. If 2 does not divide n, then go to step 3. Find all odd prime numbers p less than or equal to square root of n. p less than or equal to square root of n. Otherwise, the same thing can be written as p square less than or equal to n. Right? If there is no such odd prime, that means for any prime number p which satisfies the condition p square less than or equal to n, satisfy, then go to next step. If there is no such prime number does not exist, what is the prime number which satisfies the rule p square less than or equal to n? Such prime number does not exist. If there is no prime number, then n is a prime number. If such a prime number exists which satisfies the condition p square less than or equal to n, then go to next step. Verify whether p divides n, right? Where p is the prime number obtained in step 3. In step 3, we have to choose some prime numbers, because whenever we go to the step 4 means if it satisfies the condition some prime numbers are existing which satisfies p square less than or equal to n, then only we go to step 4. In step 4, verify whether p divides n, where p is the prime number obtained in step 3. If p divides n, then n is not a prime number. If p does not divide n for any prime p which is obtained in step, then n is prime number. Right? We will see one example. Determine whether the integer 133 is prime or not using the algorithm or procedure. Let n is equal to 133. Right? What is step 1? Check whether n is equal to 2 or not. Here clearly 133 is not equal to 2. So we need to go to step 2. Clearly n not equal to 2. So go to step 2. What is our step 2? Verify whether 2 divides n. If 2 divides n, then n is not prime number. This is step 2. Clearly 2 does not divide 133 because 133 is an odd number. Right? Then if 2 does not divide 133, then go to step 3. If 2 divides n, then it is not prime. If 2 does not divide n, then go to step 3. What is step 3? Find all odd primes p less than or equal to root n, which is same as p square less than or equal to n. Clearly, what is the condition here? P square less than or equal to n, n value is 133. This is the condition. Prime numbers p is equal to 3, 3 square 9 less than or equal to 133. Next prime number is 5, 25 less than or equal to 133. Next prime number is 7, 7 square 49 less than or equal to 133. Next prime number is 11, 11 square 121 less than or equal to 133. Next prime number is 13, 13 square is 169, right? Which is not less than or equal to 133. Now, we have to check it whether these prime numbers divides the given number or not. See the equation 4, if such prime numbers are existing, go to step 4. Right? If such prime numbers are not existing, then n is prime number. What is step 4? If p divides n, then n is not prime number. Clearly here, So go to step 4 because such that p square less than or equal to n. What is step 4? In each case we need to check whether p divides n or not. What are the p values? 3 does not divide 133. 5 does not divide 133. But if you observe, 7 divides 133 how many times? 7 one time, 6 63, 19 times. Therefore, because such prime number existing, using the condition of fourth one, if any prime number p exists which divides n, then n is not prime number, right? Then n is not prime number. So, therefore, 133 is not prime number. Right? In this class, we discussed the relation between LCM and GCD of two numbers. Then we start the algorithm to find out the given number is prime or not. Thank you.